welcome back. Good to see you. In this particular video I'm going to be talking about how to clean your machine. I'd mentioned that if dog teeth got jammed, they don't feed properly. I'm going to go through what I mean by that. If I lower the lever down, and I do, whether it's the dot knot or the back stitch, depending on your choice, and then go forward stitch, you'll notice my hands are nowhere near my fabric, and the machine should feed the fabric in properly. All I should be doing is perhaps just guiding it. Okay, I should not be pulling it or pulling it, pushing and pulling it. If you're pushing and pulling it, you're likely to break your needle. You might need to do that in some instances, such as if you're upholstering, because sometimes the fabric is difficult to pull in. But saying that, on the whole, you should not be pulling or pushing your fabric. It will distort the length of your stitch. If you hold your fabric, it will make the stitches small. If you let go of it, the machine will feed as it should feed. If it's not feeding correctly, that's when you need to have a look at what needs to be done. Anyway, let me take that out and let me explain to you how you can go about doing it. First things first, you need to empty your machine. So we're going to lift up your, take your bobbin lid off and grab your bobbin, and you should be able to pull that out quite nicely. Okay, so we pulled that out. What I'm going to point out to you now is your needle thread. Some people, well, I'm as guilty as anybody else. I will grab the thread from the top and I will yank it out. It does cause damage to your tension discs. So I would strongly recommend either you cut it from the top of your machine and you pull the thread through in the direction it should naturally flow, or you have to physically try and unpick it, which is much harder. So what is recommended, rather than drag it through the machine, is you actually, I take it out of the needle, I grab a sharp pair of scissors and I cut near the top of the machine, cut the thread at the top of the machine, and then you actually drag it the correct way out of the machine. I know it is wasteful, you've got a little bit of thread left, but if you're like me, you've got a tangle jar and you'll keep it in your tangle jar. If you haven't got a tangle jar, then you can use it for hand stitching the finer details like buttons on, if you're a dressmaker. Okay, so we've emptied the machine. Now you do need to, at this point, turn the lights off, because if you're going to be doing anything to the machine, you are going to hurt yourself if you press on your pedal, etc. So turn it off. I've got a standard lamp here that I'm trying to shine in so you can see there. I would recommend getting an angle poise lamp to help you with this. I'm going to take this plate off. Now, there's screws here. The technician always said to me, if there's a screw there, it means you're allowed to unscrew it. So if you've got a little short screwdriver like this, you're lucky. If you haven't got a little short screwdriver, sometimes a little half penny will fit in the grooves. You can buy, if you check your tin, people have often got like a little funny rectangular, triangular thing in their toolkit and don't know what it is. Believe it or not, it actually is a screwdriver, and you just use it like a little, like you would a penny. Put it in and turn it. Very handy. I took me 2 screws out. I put them somewhere safe because they'll roll away if I don't. I might use my screwdriver just to help lift that plate up. And this is all okay to do. All right. Refer to your manual if you're not sure. Like that. Now, some people will have one of these in their toolkit, and it's a brush one end and it's a quick pick the other end. If you haven't got one of them, you could just use a regular paintbrush. So a nice bristled brush will do just as well. And you're going to be brushing this out, but what you need to do first is to take this section out. Now, you might struggle, you might think, oh, it's not coming out, it's not coming out, but it will. Eventually it will come out. And that's the bobbin race. And that, if you've got dust in this tension disc area, will cause problems. So it's worth giving that a bit of a brush out, giving the whole thing a bit of a brush. But I'll tell you now, there'll be a hell of a lot of dust in here, and I'll show you how much dust. This is just actually embarrassing. But hey ho, just to prove to you how much dust can gather inside your machine, and that will affect the run of my bobbin. So get it out, best to get it out. Do not be tempted to blow. It's very tempting to blow, but all you're going to do is you're going to blow the dust further into the machine, and that is not a good idea. Now, you may remember I said to people about the feed of the dogs, and I was saying that because, believe it or not, there is dust in my feet. I'm going to take this foot off to help me. So I took the feet off, and there is a lot of dust in that groove. In fact, so much dust. I'm actually going to get a pin to hoik that out, and you'll see what I mean. You can see that. So I'm glad I've done it, because it did need doing. So there's the dust. Now the service technicians at Silver used to put your dust in a little bag to prove how much collected. That would explain why the machines weren't running very well. Be careful with using a pin near your machine, because you don't want to drop the pin. Just double check by brushing it through. Oh, there's some more. Gosh, it's me, it is bad. There we go. Bit more, make sure everything's out. Everything's out, I'm happy with that. Now the difficulty is, and this is where people do find difficulty, is getting this back in. And how does it go back in? I took it out, I don't know how it goes back in. But don't worry, hopefully you've checked where your tension screw is. In my case it's yellow, but some of them aren't yellow, so hopefully you've spotted that. And that should go at the front. There's usually, I don't know if you can see that, there's like a little lump sitting there. That lump sits against the metal. There's a metal bracket just here. So when you drop it in, that should just line up here. Just here. There's the lump and there's the metal bracket. Now what I tend to do is I make sure there's no thread in my needle. And if you turn the balance wheel on the end, what should happen is you'll see the outer race that catches the top thread should be spinning around the bobbin. So that's what should be happening. Hopefully you can actually see that. And if that's doing it correctly, it shouldn't be moving. What I will do is I'll put it in incorrectly. Oh, it's not, yeah. And I'm going to show you what will happen. Can you see it's actually spinning, it's getting caught, it's jamming, it's not good. Take it out, start again. And when you're doing it, you'll notice that at this point the needle's down. Make sure your needle is fully raised, and then you know the outer race is in the right location. And then it should drop in. And you actually heard it drop in. And I've done it again, I'm checking it's flowing properly, and it is. Okay. Once you're happy with that, you can put it all back together. Put that on there, pop that in there, and screw that back up without the dust. Screw that back up nice and tight. I hope that has informed you on how to clean your bobbin race area, and that should improve the efficiency of your machine. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you have a good day, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.